Hey guys, what's going on? This is Misguided Souls. We're Shadows of the Paranormal. We'll be back in 1 second.
The views expressed and opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Z-Talk Radio, its affiliates, or sponsors.
But we give those other guys the finger.
You're listening to Z-Talk Radio Network.
What's going on? This is Chris, and I'm from Shadows of the Paranormal. You're listening to Misguided Souls on ztalkradio.com. Tonight's guest is going to be Nick Lantz. We're all hanging out in the studio. Nick's going to be calling in about 8 minutes or so. We're having some technical issues once again with our Skype. So he's going to be calling our phone, and we're just going to have it on speakerphone for you guys. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully it sounds decent for you. We're sorry. The server was giving us some problems a little while ago. So we're just trying to do our best. And I'm just getting over a cold, so I'm all like congested and stuff. So, what's everyone doing tonight? How's everyone doing?
Good, I'm doing great. I'm here. I haven't been at a radio show in a while. It's Phil. It feels great to be here.
Yeah, we also got Matt here.
And Carolyn.
And Ryan's upstairs checking the computer.
Yeah, we got, a few of us tonight. Brian couldn't make it. He's at
the Colbert Report.
The Colbert Report.
Interesting.
Kind of wish I was at one. It's got to be a cool. Show to
I'm a little
chill
jealous.
out on.
Slightly jealous.
So last week's show, me, Matt, George talked about Gettysburg. We were talking about having fun hanging out with everybody, and Phil, Carolyn, you guys weren't here. What did you guys think about Gettysburg?
Incredible.
It was amazing. Probably the best weekend ever. I learned so much, more than I thought I would learn. I just thought the lectures, in the beginning you're like, oh, lectures, they're going to be an hour long, oh, it's going to be boring. But when it's something you're interested in, especially in this field, and you're with everybody that shares the same, theories and everything about you, so it's awesome. It was definitely the best weekend ever.
I would definitely highlight the lectures.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still creeped out by the one by Stan Romanek with the aliens.
Oh, yeah.
And how his different series of different abductions have, taken over his life. And it's pretty wild. I started reading his book, and it's...
Which one? The messages or answers? Okay.
It's pretty wild,
Yeah.
I gotta borrow that one because I missed the lecture.
Absolutely.
And you guys telling me about it actually creeped me out. And I think it's because, ghosts and stuff, it's like they're not physical beings, so
yeah,
I think
the aliens.
aspect of the aliens, it kind of creeps me out.
And what really weirded me out in his lecture, he actually showed different videos, and he talked about these different orbs and lights that how they were light streaks, but they really didn't look like lasers, and how it's like they're there 1 second and gone the next, and and also in the book, if you guys are interested, I'll fill you in on the story. But his leg needed surgery. Next thing he knows, his leg's fixed. And, he went to the doctor and recorded it, and the doctor's like, you need to call the Ghostbusters. And he said nothing about aliens.
Yeah.
But it's like, just call the Ghostbusters. They, you need to get them in the house, the Ghostbusters.
So the doctor was like, this couldn't possibly have happened overnight or whatever.
Yeah, he was just,
he went missing.
Astonished.
Yeah,
they x-rayed him and everything.
Before.
It's just like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, unless he's a master at Reiki or
Or he's like really good at
doing surgery on himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Which he does not have.
You know,
He
it's
could be like
definitely a wild
Wolverine and
story.
have like super healing powers or whatever.
yeah, it
Could be a
is.
mutant. It's possible.
So, like I said a few minutes ago, our guest tonight is Nick Lantz. He has a show that's coming up after ours, Your Spirit Beacon, and his show is done with his mom, Deborah Lantz, as well. And Deborah is like my second mom. Nick
She's
is
like
my little brother.
She's like all of our second mother.
Incredible.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked. Nick is an awesome kid, and for those who are listening tonight who haven't tuned into the show before or haven't been on the station before, it's a little bit, understanding of, who we work with and who some of our friends are, which is going to be a cool experience for you guys as well. So you should be calling in about 3 minutes or so. Jason Gowan from Extreme Paranormal. I've been talking to him on and off. He just texted me, and next Monday he is actually going to be our guest. So you'll get to hear Jason talking about his time on Extreme Paranormal and some things, some do's and don'ts with contracts or whatever, and his views on some of the paranormal aspects.
And he's a funny guy too.
Oh my God, he's
hilarious.
It should be a really good show.
We went out to dinner with him twice, and
It was a blast.
Yeah, he
We were all dying laughing.
he's a funny character. He's an awesome dude. So we got some things going on. We've been talking to some people. We have an upcoming event coming up in about less than 3 weeks, and that's going to be the South Coast Toy and Comic. We have our spot. We're going to have a table there at the South Coast Paranormal and Psychic Fair. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be
Where is that?
It's going to be in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. It's going to be us, John Brightman from NEPR. Their whole team's going to be there. Robin Marie is going to be there. Keith and Sandra Johnson. So it's going to be a good group of people. It's going to be a bunch of different psychics. There's going to be paranormal investigators, some healers, some Reiki. They're going to have Shannon Sylvia is going to be there. Brian Harnwell if he shows up. Ken DaCosta from Rise Up Paranormal. So we're looking to just go there, meet a lot of people, have some fun, and then at the end of the night, I think that SOP and NEPR are going to be running an investigation. The Freetown Forest. So if you guys have ever been to one of John Brightman from NEPR's lectures, so he talks about the Bridgewater Triangle, the
Very
Freetown
interesting.
Forest. Yes, cult activities. A lot
Recent
of
cult activity.
Yeah, recent cult
Very
activities. Mob activity from the Boston mob and everything. So it's definitely an interesting place to check out. So I can't wait to go and check that place out and finally get to investigate it. Plus, he's renting Suburbans, and
Nice.
I'm either going to get to drive a Suburban or a Hummer. So,
Nice.
They better get the insurance.
Wait,
So-
how many acres is it? Isn't it like 18,000?
yeah, it's huge.
Like
It's
Like
there's
two, yeah.
there's a lot of roads.
There's no way we can cover it in
No,
week.
no.
A week of investigating. There's no way.
So
It's
I mean,
massive.
we'll be there investigating between like 4 and 6 hours, I believe. So
Well, if we do need a sacrifice, Phil, I volunteer you.
It's okay. Listen, I'll bring my generators just so if you guys need some power, you'll be all
If we need
right.
some light while they're sacrificing.
Because it's in the middle of nowhere, so I'll leave you with my generators.
well, that works. Yeah, we can't wait for that. It's going to be definitely a great time. I love going to Massachusetts. Love hanging out with the people that are there. So, plus the guy who's running it, Steve. I haven't had a chance to to meet him yet. So I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent.
So
Yeah, the weather should be a blast, nice and warm.
yeah, hopefully it's pretty good weather.
Yeah, let's not jinx it, all right?
Yeah.
Listen, as long as it's nice and warm, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Cold, no.
But
So yeah, what else has been going on recently? I guess I'm very excited for this investigation coming up myself. We got a lot of information about it. Bridgewater Triangle. It's just really, really interesting stuff. Very sacred ground according to the Indians that were there. Supposedly they cursed it. There's been a lot of satanic rituals.
Yeah, I mean, like Chris said, it's got everything from Native American history there.
Right.
You have the really horrific stories of people doing satanic rituals there and involving small children, and it's just really disturbing stuff. And then you have the mafia throwing bodies off of the bluff there, and there's a lot of different types of traumatic things going on there, and I'm not surprised that supposedly there's a lot of paranormal activity there. So I'm not sure exactly which part they're going to be taking us, but I kind of like that. I kind of like not knowing and just kind of taking it as it comes and see what happens. So
that's the thing. Like, we know some of the history that's been there. We know that there were 2 children's bodies that were found in like a sort of like a man-made cave.
So
and
sad.
they were in like a
So
chair,
sad.
right?
Yeah, they were tied to a chair and tortured. So it's like, it's really sad to hear things that some people do. There have been dozens of cattle and different types of animals found with the blood drained from them. There was 3 prostitutes that were kidnapped and murdered. They found 2 of the bodies and the third one's head.
Never found the third one's body.
Never found the third one's body. So it's a pretty interesting place. We know some of the history, and I mean, there's just so much.
I can't wait for the radio show we have when we get back from there, because it's all going to be like, hopefully we'll have some evidence we can show.
I can't wait to listen to the audio and see
Yeah.
if we get any EVPs or anything,
Yeah.
because it's going to be crazy.
But so we're just waiting for Nick to call in. Like I was saying, we were actually in Gettysburg with him, and it was a cool trip. He came and knocked on the door like 5:30 in the morning to investigate, and I mean, I was passed out.
We're all sleeping.
So,
Is that Nick?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
hey, that's
Hi, Nick.
Mr. Lantz himself.
Mr. Nick Lantz, everybody.
Hey, Nick, what's going on?
How's it going?
Pretty good. As you know, Skype is not working for us for some reason. So, just for everyone who's listening, we have Nick on speakerphone, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear him through that. So Nick, what's been going on?
Well, the usual. Track practice, ghost hunting.
I was, I was talking to one of my buddies today, who he knew about the show. He listened to a few of our old shows, but he hasn't listened, while it was going on. And I was telling him that we had you as a guest tonight, and the thing is, I was thinking about this before when I was at home. I was doing some research and some work at home on my computer, and I was like, when I was a kid, I played paintball for years, and I traveled, and I played on professional teams, and I traveled to, different states playing paintball, and I was trying to compare what the paranormal field was, to like how the paintball, like the sports world was. And the thing is, I remember playing paintball, and if you were professional, for the most part, you were stuck up. And there was people I looked up to. And then once meeting them, I was like, you know what? Forget this person. Like, it's one of the biggest disappointments. Like, if you meet your favorite musician and he's a D-bag, and you're like, wow. And I really, talked about this person. I really,
Looked up to them.
looked up to this person, and now, it's sad to see that. And, in the paranormal field, I mean, yes, there are some people that are like that. But for the most part, it's like, it's totally different. And it's awesome because, like I was telling him, I was like, listen, friend Nick, he's younger than me. I do look up to this kid. He travels all over the place. And, growing up with a psychic, a mom who's a psychic medium, and you're a clairvoyant sensitive, it's got to be difficult, to tell us a little bit about, how it is like growing up with something like that, with, abilities like that, and having a mom with, certain abilities.
And then, like, balancing your regular life, too, your school and your, extracurricular activities and stuff. Like, tell us, has it been easy? Has it been difficult balancing all that?
Well, for me, just being raised by a psychic, it's been helpful, and sometimes it's also been, confusing. When I was a little kid, my mom didn't really come out with her gift until, a couple of years ago. So when I was little, she didn't even acknowledge the fact that she was gifted. She was just another person, too. So we'd have weird things happen in our house, and, she'd, say it's just my imagination, things like, stereotypical kid in a haunted house type stuff. And, but, over time, she realized her own gifts and mine as well, and, she got more involved in the paranormal, and which in turn got me more involved in the paranormal. Just the fact that we have sensitive living together, for one, attracts lots of spirits. So it's always kind of weird, there's always stuff going on in our house.
Well, how old were you? Were you and your mom, like, when you guys started to work together? As psychic mediums or investigating the paranormal. Like, around what age were you when that started?
Well, since we started working together, it would probably be fairly recent. I'd say maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So, my freshman year of high school.
Now, is your sister jealous of you guys? Because, I was talking to Deb, and I was, she was saying how, like, she's like, I have, these extra, abilities, and I know that your dad doesn't. You do, but your sister, does she have anything, or is it maybe that she hasn't tapped into it yet, or?
My little sister is very powerful, to say the least. She has the potential to be way, more sensitive than my mom and me, and combined. But the thing is, she's really not into the whole ghost hunting thing. But if she wanted to, though, she could be a very effective medium. She sees things, she picks things up.
Why do you think she wouldn't be into the ghost hunting thing?
It's just not her. I mean, she's gone on a ghost hunt with us before, and she always does great. But that's just not her cup of tea. Like, she's just not into it like my mom and I are. And she's always about, happy things, positive, light, butterflies and ponies, type stuff.
Well, you're into butterflies too, though.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's our secret tattoo.
But she doesn't really like to get into the, more bad stuff. And, sometimes there can be some scary stuff on ghost hunts, and she is not really into dealing with that stuff. I mean, she doesn't even like the heavy metal music that I listen to, so let alone ghost hunt with something negative. So,
well,
Understandably
also,
so.
also maybe age right now, when she gets a little bit older, she may grow into it a little bit more, because she'll see you and your mom, on more investigations, going on more lectures, and things like that. So, I think it's, I wouldn't say never, but I think that that would be interesting, seeing, like, psychic mom and her 2 kids.
Yeah, well, I hope she does use her abilities, it doesn't necessarily have to be for ghost hunting, but just for something. Like, it could be, more on the metaphysical side, like, energy healing, or, just stuff like that.
Right.
And, hopefully she, uses her abilities.
So what about, like, the past life regressions? I mean, you have a very interesting story with retracing your past life. Has she done that at all, or attempted to, or is that something else she's not really into?
As far as I'm aware, she's never attempted anything like that. She hasn't really showed the interest to. I mean,
even after hearing your story, like she wasn't like.
My love of history, and my love of history kind of drove me to know my own history.
It's true.
That she, I mean, I don't know how she feels about that. It'd be cool just to know what she experiences, but yeah, she hasn't really showed any interest in doing that yet. So hopefully she will.
Yeah, for those of you guys who are listening in the chat room, we sat down in our hotel room and we did a two sets of meditations, and one of them is a past life regression, and Nick had done that a while ago, and it all started with a dream that he had, and there was some things that he found out during a dream, and digging a little deeper, he started putting pieces together of a past life that he's had. Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit about. I don't want you to go too much into it, because I want people that when they go to your lectures, I want them to be able to be like, I already heard this. Just give them a little taste. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I've always, as you guys know, from my lecture, I've always been into Civil War history. I'll make it really quick, short summary. But I had a dream about a past life, and I knew it was a past life because of the strange, unordinary amount of detail. And that led me to do a little bit more research. I did a past life regression, and I got some names, some dates. So I wrote them all down, and I did some more research. I went to some libraries, went online, and I basically found these names and these dates. And they weren't famous people. They were just your average Joe name. Nothing well known. I could have just I've heard before, and that's how I got it from my memory. I had never heard of any of these names or anything like that.
Right.
So I got all these strange names, and it turns out it's all true. And I ended up finding actual things to back up everything I came up with in my regression and from my dreams.
That's amazing.
And it's a journey that I'm still going through. It's not over yet. There's still more pieces to the puzzle uncovering every day. So it's an interesting journey, to say the least.
And it's really cool that you're willing to talk to people and lecture about it, because I feel like you could help a lot of people that have had dreams and somehow start to feel like possibly it was a past life. I mean, myself, I've had a similar experience, and I know I could talk to you, and you could definitely give me some good advice. And everybody else out there, I mean, Nick is probably the person to talk to, because he's done a lot of research, and the story is actually pretty cool. And,
it matches up pretty well.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. Now, I know we had a question in the chat before. Do you believe, Nick, that everybody has these capabilities, whether you have these psychic abilities or not? Do you think everybody that or that's living can tap into these abilities and go into these past life regressions and psychic abilities like yourself?
I absolutely believe that. I do believe that everyone is born with abilities. Little kids will sit there and talk to their imaginary friends, things like that. Little kids have weird things happen. But as we grow up and as we get older, society develops these filters in us, or it's just your imagination, that's not real, just these unconscious filters are built up in your mind, and then we start to stop seeing these things. So some people, are lucky enough to avoid those filters. Some people, people that don't have these abilities, right now, they have to break down that filter.
And I guess
everyone's capable of it.
I guess that makes sense too, because as a kid, you're so innocent and you're not prone to the day-to-day excuse of what's really going on. You're just kind of going with it, you know.
And you have less stresses on your mind. I mean, as a kid, you don't really have anything to worry about. I mean, as you get older, you got to worry about bills, you got to worry about job, going to school,
Girls.
yeah. girls,
Becky's.
The
Yeah.
taxes.
You know, in the chat room, Nick, someone just asked about, do you have a book? And I know you haven't written a book, but you're interested in journalism and the paranormal fields, maybe getting into like a paranormal journalism. I know you were talking to Aaron Sagers and Jeff Belanger. Is that something that you would think about? Is maybe doing like the story of Nicholas Lantz in his past life?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I started writing, actually, a while back I started writing that, you know, the whole past life journey I went through. But my problem was, as I was writing, I realized I can't write about this because it's not over. You know, I started writing, and there's just more and more things, and there's just so much that I couldn't write it down because it's still happening. Like, there's still more research to be done. There's still more knowledge to be found. So if I were to completely, you know, finish the book, it'd be something that would take me probably a few years to accomplish. But you know, the funny thing is, though, it's kind of neat. I took a creative writing class in high school, and I wrote. We had to do a historical fiction story, and it's just a short story. But I wrote about from the perspective of, you know, who I was, and I wrote down I basically made up a story. But it was kind of neat because the story, because it was basically memories that I had. I was just writing that down for my historical fiction, and so that's kind of a neat story. Actually, my teacher, my teacher's really cool. He knows all about my abilities and all this stuff. He was really fascinated too by the whole past life thing.
That's awesome. You know, Nick just graduated high school. He's going to be going to OU, which is Ohio University, which is also ranked as with one of the most, you know, highest party schools, but is also one of the most quote unquote haunted locations, one of the most haunted universities in North America. And you know, when we first started our radio show, actually almost probably every radio show we've talked about Nick and Redemption Paranormal, which Nick is one of the founders and a lead investigator with Redemption Paranormal. He started it with his friend Mason. And Nick, give us a little bit about Redemption Paranormal, what your views are and everything.
Well, basically, you know, with being amongst other teams and being involved in the field a lot, you know, it has helped me know what I want out of it and what I want to do. And basically what our viewpoint is that we are students of the paranormal, which means that there's always more to learn, and if we knew everything about it, then it would not be paranormal. It'd be normal.
Correct.
So really, everyone's a student of paranormal because you're constantly learning. There's never you're never finished learning about it. And you know, the ironic twist is we are students. So there you go.
Well, that's what we love about you, Nick, is that, you know, you have that mindset. It's not, you know, some other people out there, whether they're in the paranormal field or not, they feel like it's either got to be a definite science or you know, it doesn't exist. And
Exactly.
to get to the point of it being a science is we have to do all that work beforehand. And it seems like you guys really understand that, and that's why I personally respect you guys so much. So.
Thank you. You know, it's just it's just a thing where my viewpoint on it is no one's an expert. I mean, there's specialists, but no one's is truly an expert.
Exactly.
But it does help to you know, network with people. You know, really get your name out there, get to know people. That way, if you ever come into a situation, you know, and I feel like, okay, I'm really in over my head here. Let's call in a person, a friend of mine, who's a Native American shaman, or this guy's an exorcist. You know, just, you know, people I know. I can have a network of friends that I can count on and they specialize in certain areas. So, and I really think it's important to don't learn enough.
Exactly. I mean, I think every group needs to have those friends that are specialists and that you could call on. I mean, it's a necessity. You can't handle everything on your own. I mean, even if a group's been around for 10, 20 years, I mean, they still need help. They can't know everything, and I just wish more people would have that mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Because you do come across, people in this field who are very shunned to networking with other people, and it's not a competition in this field. We're in this together. Like you said, nobody is an expert. Even during Patrick Byrne's lecture, he did mention, you can be on television, you can be famous. It doesn't make you an expert in this field. And even when I was talking to Chris Williams, she said, I've only been investigating for 5 years. So this is coming from somebody who's on television, who has a career doing this, and, still kind of, not an amateur per se, but, you always got to keep your eye out and have each other's backs because, again, no one is an expert, and it's good to have that unity.
So the other founder of Redemption Paranormal, is he a psychic medium, or does he have any abilities like you, or is he just there kind of like on the scientific end?
Well, we like to think that we like to say that he's more on the scientific end because we like to try to, because, as you guys know, my background is more spiritual because of how I was raised. But we like to think that he's more scientific at least he comes from more of a skeptical standpoint. Because we try to have, we try to keep it 50-50, 50 spiritual and 50 scientific. But I will say this though, I do feel like he absolutely has abilities. I've been investigating with him, and I've seen what he's done, and he's seen things, he's felt things. I remember at Bellbrook we were investigating, and I saw the spirit. And I said, hey, Mason, come here. Tell me what you see, because I wanted to see if he could see the exact thing I was seeing. And that he described exactly what I was seeing. So I was really impressed with him because he just knew.
Now, were you guys actually?
That's exactly what I saw.
Were you guys actually seeing it, or was it more of like something you were seeing in your mind, like
in your mind's eye?
Yeah, like a vision.
It's it's hard to explain. It was my mind's eye, but it was also really distinct though, almost like a overhead projector.
Okay.
Transparent, but you could see the details. So it's hard to explain really. I guess it's a combination of both. The sense was so strong that we knew he was there. So I guess in that sense we saw him because you could see the outline. But I guess in our mind's eye, that's when we see the detail of their clothing and things like that.
So your mind's eye kind of like filled in whatever your physical eye couldn't see in a way, almost.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I have to ask you, Nick. Your mom was saying you guys have a place for us to check out, Hocking Hills, Ohio.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, what is that place? I mean, I'm intrigued.
Well, it's probably the most beautiful place you'll ever see. It's the most beautiful place in Ohio, that's for sure. It's a hiking area. Have you ever heard of Old Man's Cave?
Yes.
Yeah, that's at Hocking Hills.
Ah.
So there's lots of caves and lots of rocks and waterfalls and things like that. But it's steeped in ancient history and just the deep spiritualities in place there. You can just feel it when you walk through the hills. And it's kind of funny. We were there just this past weekend because I spent a day and a night on campus at OU. And then we went and spent the rest of the weekend at Hocking Hills, and we found actually a book on haunted Hocking Hills. So naturally we had to buy it. So she's reading that right now.
That's awesome.
But it's insane. Talks about the several cemeteries and some of the caves that are there, the waterfalls, having the
Now, how far is that from OU?
It's about, I'm going to say 45 minutes.
Okay.
That's pretty cool, then. You're going to be right there. Now, you're starting a new group. I mean, well, you guys are already formed, but I assume you guys are hopefully going to look for potential new members. I mean, do you have a plan on how you're going to go about that on campus, or are you going to look elsewhere, or you're not looking at all? Like, what are your plans for that?
Well, I mean, it's I've been putting a lot of thought into that. It's kind of stressful for me because, you know, right now I feel like I'm doing literally everything. You know, I'm doing the research. I'm like, you know, I'm just doing literally everything. You know, but I've been putting a lot of thought into it, and what my goal is, at least, is to, once I get to college and I get established there, I want to, you know, just, you know, I have two viewpoints. I'm thinking either I'll just take people that I already know and trust and offer them a spot, but, you know, as long as they're aware that we're not just ghost hunters, this is serious, you know, we're actually trying to help people. But, or just, you know, throw up flyers and say, hey, if you're interested in joining a serious paranormal team, you know, give us a call and basically get, you know, chat with them, get to know them a little bit. And that's the main thing, get to know them, because I don't want to just open it up to anyone and see what kind of people they are. But to me, though, what's really exciting is just the fact that, because it is a college campus, if I wanted to have someone who has a background in psychology to help with, you know, handling clients, well, hey, you're a psychology major, perfect, want to join my team, you know? Or a photography major, you know, just things like that. And I think it's a good place to start a team just for that reason.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. I never even really thought of that.
Yeah, it's definitely cool because, you know, especially like a huge campus like that, I mean, like you said, you have to watch, you know, who's coming on. You got to make sure that you can trust them. But, you know, at least if you have some people that you know and need some help with something, you don't have to go that far. You know,
exactly.
That, you know, that's pretty cool. Is that, you know, you don't have to, you know, post on a website, hey, looking for new members, or post stuff up all over the place.
Right.
All you have to do is, you know, basically walk out of your dorm and just talk to people.
Exactly.
Just go to your class, and, you know, you might find some people who are interested in the same thing. One of the things I wanted to ask was, we got a question in the chat room, and someone asked us if we've ever been on an investigation and smelled like a perfume or tobacco from someone who's passed on, and the answer is yes, we have. We're on investigations. We try not to wear any cologne or perfumes
or smoke before
investigation.
And no smoking on.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely no smoking.
And you don't do anything like that prior to the investigation. You know, because if there are claims from someone who has passed and maybe they were, you know, a pipe smoker, or, you know, they wore a certain scent of perfume or liked roses or something, maybe you could pick that up. Now, Nick, being like a clairvoyant, being sensitive, have you guys ever had any of that on an investigation? Have you ever picked up anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. For me personally, I don't feel like it's happened to me more than it has to anyone else. You know, every once in a while I'll go on an investigation, like you said, I'll smell pipe tobacco, I'll smell roses or some perfume, but it's not like a
common thing. All right.
I'm more clairvoyant than I am whatever it's called.
Clairsentient?
Smell spirits, whatever that's called, I forget.
Clairsentient?
Yeah, clairsentient.
Would you consider that more like residual haunting, if anything, if there was something that were to stir up, like a heavy smell of tobacco, or what would you, or would you just let it go as if, oh, I'm just probably smelling a wood fire or something in the distance? Like, what would you claim that to be?
Well, I think it would depend really on the situation. I mean, if I was on a Gettysburg battlefield and I started smelling pipe tobacco, I would definitely pay attention to that, you know. But if, you know, I was walking around in a flower shop and the scent of roses came by, I'd probably discount that, even though the claim is that the owner smells like roses when he comes by.
It's a flower shop. Yeah, exactly.
Right, that
I mean, I feel like it could go either way. I mean, like, the sense of smell is like the most powerful memory jogger. So, I mean, you could say, yeah, it's a residual smell left behind, or it could be maybe the easiest way for whatever's there trying to communicate to get your senses to pay attention to it, because sense of smell is such a powerful memory jogger and just a powerful sense in itself. But
absolutely. And people always ask, what's your favorite piece of equipment to use on investigation? Well, the thing is, for a paranormal investigator, the most important piece of equipment is you. It's your body. That's using your sixth senses that you have. And that's really the most important thing. And, after that comes the equipment, the tools. But number one is just using yourself, like, paying attention to smells or strange sensations like that.
yeah, because that's how you have the equipment. That's a lot of times where you go with the equipment. You smell or you hear something, or you see something moved, you're going to go over there with your equipment and try to find out if you pick anything up, or start an EVP session. And you're definitely right, 100%.
So, tell us what you guys have going on. I know that you guys are going to at least one event that I can't make it to, and hopefully I'll be at Sloss Furnace. But tell us some of the stuff that you guys, you and your mom have coming up, or you by yourself maybe have coming up.
Well, I do know that April, the end of April, Mid-Ohio Paracon, both my mom and I will be going up on Saturday for that. I forget what's the date, but that's at the end of April. Or the 28th, yeah, April 28th. That's when we'll be going down there. That's like Post Elementary School, and that's being hosted by a Crossover Paranormal and I believe the Louisville Ghost Hunter Society as well. That's Keith H's group. But that's our next event, and then followed by, of course, Frontier Paracon, which is May 4th and 5th, the Spring Hotel. And that'll be really cool. That's a haunted entertainment event.
That's nice.
Yeah, we I was talking to Crossover about Mid-Ohio, and I would honestly love to go there. I was talking to Aaron Houdini about the school, and he said it was definitely a cool place. The Booth brothers, shot there. They got to hang out, and it was, a great location of, they shot for Children of the Grave too. And it's definitely going to be a cool event. If you guys are in the Ohio area, try and check that out. Frontier Paracon, I was trying to get into it, trying to see if I can get off for it. Like Nick said, it's Haunted Entertainment and Dan Guthrie. There's going to be a lot of cool people that are going to be at the Stanley Hotel. It's going to be a great event. If you guys are in the Colorado area, I would definitely recommend that. Mm-hmm. And then in July...
Not only to mention, it's also a wild location.
Yes, it is.
Incredible
Yes, it is.
To investigate.
In July is Sloss Furnace. And you guys are going to be going to that as well, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So Dan told me he was going to be listening. So Dan, if it's possible, I shot him an email about it. Trying to get down there because I would honestly love to check that place out, get to investigate it a little bit, and there's going to be a few bands there. I think it would be an awesome time to get, to hang out. I mean, I've never been hanging out in Alabama, and I would, it's definitely going to be an experience if I'm down there with the Lances.
That's my second favorite state.
Well, once you come up to New York, it'll change.
Yeah.
And so Nick, I got a question for you. So, being a young guy in the paranormal field, how are the ladies treating you? Have you had any admirers or,
There's been a few stalkers.
Well, you do look like Justin Bieber, so that does come out into play. I don't think you do, but other people do.
I would like to hear about this.
Stalker.
About the stalker.
Fill us in.
Hello.
Yeah, I know, we're putting you on the spot, but that's okay.
Well, I do believe you guys already know about one stalker story. We'll leave it at that.
And there's another?
Well, Facebook stalkers. Back when I used to have my phone number up on my page.
Can't do that no more. Too many
Yeah,
people know,
Nope.
man.
Can't do that.
Listen, just give it up for Lent. It works great. It's great. No one bothers
Lent's
you.
over in a week,
Yeah,
Phil.
Lent's almost
Phil
over.
gave up Facebook for Lent, so Phil hasn't been on Facebook in like 30 days.
He's very pious
Yeah.
now because he
It's,
gave
it's
it up.
pretty
for-
awesome. It's pretty awesome.
Now we also had
I
another.
get so much done.
We had an awesome question in the chat room, and I really love the feedback we're getting from all of our members that are in the chat room right now. We had one specific question asking, do you protect yourself before you go out on investigating? And if so, how do you do it?
Definitely. I never investigate without protection because when you don't, that's when stuff follows you home. And, what I do, I'm very close to St. Michael. I pray to him a lot. I say the St. Michael's prayer. I usually say a couple of prayers. And I ground myself, which is just a little technique. I go out in the yard, and it's like a protection technique that I do.
Is that before or after? Because I know your mom was telling me about that grounding technique, going out in your yard barefoot and kind of grounding yourself there. Do you do that before or after you come home?
I usually do that before, and then I usually just do a couple prayers afterwards, after the investigation. But sometimes if I just feel like doing it, or I feel like I kind of get freaked out, something weird will happen, I kind of freaks me out a little bit, just for a little extra protection. I'll take sage and I'll light it. I'll just kind of breathe it in. I'll let it. I'll wave around my body, just let the smoke from the sage surround me, and then kind of run it through my hair, which is actually a Native American tradition.
You run the sage through your hair?
Yeah, that's just a personal thing that I do. Just
Okay.
it's a Native American protection thing they would do before going into battle. That's just something I do.
Yeah.
That's
I would do it
interesting.
afterwards.
That's smart.
It's very cleansing.
That's awesome. Well, Nick, we have a few more minutes left. I'm going to actually let you go in a second because I know you have to get ready because your show's up next.
Yep.
And if you want, just plug your guests. You have Kim and Chris on tonight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Kimberly Brule and Chris Matheny, we met them at Bellbrook and Lockdown, which is where we met SOP. And they are from the Research Institute of the Paranormal. And they have a blog they do, and they have a lot of followers on that blog.
Oh, my God, yeah.
But, they're very interesting people, and we can't wait to talk to them. And Chris has some very interesting theories that he talked about Bellbrook, and I'd like to talk to him more tonight about that. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm a member of their group as well on Facebook, RIP WLB. They do Research Institute of Paranormal, What Lies Beyond, and there's over 2,700 members of that group, and
Wow.
it is a huge, active, group on Facebook, and it's really cool because what they do is they bring a lot of people together, and someone may post a theory in there, and they'll have a discussion about it, and it's a cool chat basically to go in, and you get to meet a lot of people and talk to them on Facebook from it. So they're definitely cool. They were great people. We met them in Bellbrook. It was awesome with them as well. We got to sit down. They lectured a little while. So, for those of you in the chat room, don't log off. Check out your Spirit Beacon, which is coming up next with our guest Nick.
And you get to meet his mom, Deb. She's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's our
Deb
mom
is
as well.
Amazing.
So,
Yeah, she's okay.
so all right, Nick. Thank you for calling in, and
Thank you so much, Nick.
I'll talk to you in a little while.
I love
Bye, man.
All right, later.
Bye, Nicholas.
Bye.
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 He's so hot.
He's a dreamboat.
He raped me in the morning.
Yeah, guys. I mean, Nick, him and his mom, Deborah, are just awesome people. They're very down to earth, and they're both like. His mom is very nurturing. You feel very comfortable talking
Relaxed.
to her. Yeah. And Nick is just one of those kids who, he can get along with everybody. If someone's being like a D-bag or whatever, he just kind of like brushes it off and he doesn't really let it bother him.
Yeah, he's very, very mature. I mean, I would say I'm 26. He's more mature than most people my age, which, doesn't say much for society, but it says a lot. It says a lot for Nick. And like the first time I met Nick and Deb was at Gettysburg at Phenomenology, and I tell you, I met them and it was like I've known them for years.
It's weird. We must have known them in a past life, all of us.
I think so. I mean, it's really strange. It was just like we hit it off right away. There
Let me
was
guess,
no awkwardness.
you were a part of the tribe too.
All right. This is what was interesting. We were in Bellbrook, and Deborah and Nick were doing a lecture, and during the lecture, Deborah actually stopped and was like, "The three of you guys in the back of the room, can I talk to you guys after we're done?" So afterwards, Deborah came up to me, Ryan, and George, and she said she felt a strong presence of Indians, Native Americans, and we were all the same tribe. And it was really interesting that the three of us, we actually have. We haven't traced ourselves back to Native American roots, but we all were tied into the Native Americans somehow. George, who is an empath as well, had gone to see psychic medium Jeffrey Wands, and when he walked in, Jeffrey had said that, there's a tribe of Indians following you, your spirit guide is a wolf. Ryan was taking a class on Native American history. My dad is huge into Native Americans, so growing up, I was always surrounded by that. And it was just an unusual thing to get picked up out of a crowd of people when none of us looked Native American, none of us were having anything that, or acting anything that would bring us together. And it was funny because George never told any of us about him going to the psychic. I had no clue what class Ryan was in, and it was like, they've been to my house, Ryan went to my house once, but it's not like he walked in and saw all the Native American stuff, so it was just interesting how somebody else could pick that up. So, it was really interesting how, Deborah, especially out of, a crowded room, just picked it up, and I thought it was excellent. It was really awesome.
To build on that, right before we left to go to Bellbrook, before that happened, your dad was showing us this Indian sack that dates back to 1840 or whatnot, and it's from the Indians,
The
with
day
the antiques and whatnot.
The night that we left
wild.
for Bellbrook, my dad actually showed us this Indian pouch that he had picked up, and it was just so weird, that everything was connecting together. And since then, we've become part of the Lantz family.
Yeah.
I had ordered Nick something, and I had it sent to his house. So it came to his house as Chris Lantz.
That's awesome.
So, but if you guys are ever in the area where there's going to be a convention or something going on where Deborah and Nick are speaking at, I would definitely stay, listen for the lecture. Nick talks about his past life regression and his search to find out the truth of what happened to him in his past life. And he's connected so many links, so many broken links, and done so much research. It's phenomenal that someone who, is still young, is not focused on, going out and doing this, that, and the other thing. He does in his own time, but he's got a passion for this. And I'm really glad, and, I just want to give another thanks out to Nick for coming on the show today and talking to us and telling us about everything about, his past life a little bit, about Redemption Paranormal.
I have a proposal. We need to make a Nick Lantz fan club.
Yes.
Because apparently we're all in love with Nick Lantz.
Yeah, and we can get his stalkers involved as well.
And then we'll have to make, obviously, another fan club for Deb. Because Deb is equally as awesome. So.
And our war cry will be, tits!
Yes. So... All right, guys. The next show coming up is Deborah and Nick with your Spirit Beacon.
Please tune in.
If you guys are in the chat room, you'll see someone going by What Lies Beyond. That would be Chris and Kim, which are their guests. And they are awesome people. They're going to be talking about some interesting things. We got to link up with them in Bellbrook, and I've talked to them on and off since then, and really interesting stories that they have. So listen to them. Chris has some really great theories on some things in the field. So please stick around, listen to that. Next week we're going to have Jason Gowan, who Nick introduced us to as well, from Extreme Paranormal, and he is an awesome investigator, an awesome comedian, and he's just a really funny, awesome dude. So
it's going to be a good show.
So next week, check us out, Misguided Souls, 7 to 8 p.m. Z-Talk Radio with our guest, Jason Gowan. Thank you, guys.
Until next week.
Yes, thank you guys in the chat room for sending us your questions, listening to us interview Nick, and get to talk to our little brother. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
The views expressed and opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Z-Talk Radio, its affiliates, or sponsors.
Leaving me cold as your words come alive. Going under, pull me under. Lie to me over again and again, breaking empathy. Promise me, then take away all the truth as we bleed. Lie to me. You can't deny the hurt that it brings when trust is deceived. There's a heart at its end that deals with our world, that you change constantly. Going under, pull me under. Lie to me over again and again, breaking empathy. Promise me, then take away all the truth as we bleed. Lie to me. With every hope that lies beneath this game you play, and talking moments all can change. So look me in the eyes, say everything is alright. Lie to me over again and again, breaking empathy. Promise me, then take away all the truth as we bleed. Lie to me.
Just one time, I thought it would be okay. I would have asked him to get tested. But I didn't want him to think I didn't trust him. I didn't know I could catch it on the playground. We were in love, so I didn't think about it. All I did is trade Lunchables.
Every year, 2 million kids are infected with cooties.
Why didn't you tell me, baby? I thought cooties was something that happened to other kids. Cooties! I just wanted to play tag. I never thought I'd be it.
And the numbers are growing.
I blame myself. I made a big mistake.
And even though a vaccine is available,
Circle, circle, dot, dot, now you got the cootie shot.
most children never get inoculated.
You may have cooties and not even know it. I wish someone had told me.
Speak to your kids about cooties before cooties speaks to them first.
What do I do now?
Hi, this is Paul McCartney on behalf of RAD. If you're drinking, you can't drive my car or any car. And remember, don't drink and drive. It's just not worth it.
But you can do something in between. Baby, you can drive my car.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.